Hello everybody, Buddy Webb, Midland, Texas. I'm going to do a short video today. I think you'll find it really interesting. I just created this meme and basically I'm comparing what the emergency room nurse Creswell wrote on the nurse's report. That's in my official medical records that I got from the hospital. And then also what Detective Rosie Rodriguez wrote on a police report, okay? And we're going to compare the two, okay? And you're going to find this super interesting, okay? I think I'm going to name this video Nurse Creswell versus Detective Rosie Rodriguez, okay? This compares what emergency room nurse Creswell wrote on the nurse's notes, what MPD Detective Rosie Rodriguez wrote on a police report. It's easy to see that one of them is lying. ER nurse Creswell wrote, the ER nurse stated on the nurse's notes that I had said that burglar alarms were going off over and over, which is true. She also said that I told them about a voice recorder at my home that had recorded those burglar alarms going off, and I had told them, just go look, there is proof. Detective Rosie Rodriguez is in the room when I'm saying this, as seen by the timestamp for when Creswell states that Rodriguez has my gold necklace, okay? So we know Rodriguez heard me say that, okay? And then my next section is Detective Rosie Rodriguez wrote, okay? Rosie wrote that I told her that I was locking up my doors in preparation to go to bed when I knocked over my gun, which accidentally shot me. She then said that I crawled out because my phone was not charged, and that I told her that I got into my blue truck and drove to the 7-Eleven, okay? Here's the truth. Okay. I was not locking up for the night, as I had burglar alarms going off in the attic over and over, just like the nurse said. I was under a home invasion at the time. And I had been reporting the burglaries to my home for 14 months before this. This was a lie that was made up and told by MPD Detective Rosie Rodriguez. She falsified this police report, also known as a felony. It's now proven that I wasn't shot with my gun, but at that time I didn't know that, as I didn't see the shooter standing under my home. The police report for this night, which was illegally withheld for 7 years, showed that police were under my home and had entered from the now removed trapdoor that I had been shot from. And I didn't tell Rosie that my battery was dead, as I had a fully charged battery on my cordless phone, as it sat on the charger all of the time. The only reason I had my cordless phone was because my cell phone had been stolen before I was shot. They had also disconnected or cut the home phone lines so that my phone didn't work either. And that was the true reason I had crawled outside. It was a life or death situation. When I returned from the hospital, I found my cell phone planted behind my nightstand next to my bed and my home phone back to working. I also found a picture on my bedroom security camera of Rosie Rodriguez leaned over this nightstand and obviously planning my previously stolen cell phone. Based on the timestamps, it looks like Rosie and April Chandler waited for the other officers to leave my bedroom before they planted this cell phone. She made up the lie about me telling her the battery being dead because she knew they had cut my phone lines before shooting me. This was premeditated, cold-blooded murder, and God saved my life. And lastly, I didn't have a blue truck, but a purple one. These were not the only lies that Detective Rosie Rodriguez told either. She had climbed in my truck at the 7-Eleven right after our shot and was giving me first aid, but then stated on the police report that she wasn't even there, and April Chandler lied and said that she climbed into my truck. I wonder why they lied about this part. And if it wasn't for Nurse Creswell, then it would be my word against the word of these police officers, and they were calling me crazy. I'm the first to admit that being shot by somebody under your home with burglar alarms going off in the attic is crazy, but that is what happened, and now there's proof showing that I wasn't shot with my gun, proof of many other homeowners reporting people in the attic, and multiple people documented saying that tunnels and underground homes are here. So why am I still living under the threat of death with crimes being committed against me every single day? That was my Facebook post today. And I'm gonna show you here. I think it'll be easier. I put comments on the bottom of them. I copy and pasted like I normally do. And basically, I took that one where I said, I was not logging up for the night. I had burglar alarms going off. And I put here, I said, this was a lie that was made up by Detective Rosie Rodriguez. She falsified. I since documented burglar alarms going off in my home hundreds of times from multiple systems. That's burglar alarms going off in the attic. Now I have the security light in the attic that goes off every single day. Here's just one of them as an example, okay?
I'm in the bathtub and now the alarm in the attic's going off. And so, anyway, I was listening to it, I saved my foot. And these are real people. I showed you, I think I made that video this morning. The burglar alarms work. There's somebody in my attic right now.
Okay. And that's the point I'm making. And of course, that's what I was saying at the hospital. Burglar alarms were going off in my attic. And since then, there's been so many, I can't even count them. The amount of evidence is to the point of absurdity. It's now proven that I wasn't shot with my gun, but at that time I didn't know that, as I didn't see the shooter standing under my home. Multiple proofs show that I wasn't shot with my gun, which means I was shot with another gun. It means somebody under my home was shot me. And here I've showed this before, because I created this proof meme here, and basically I'm comparing the size of pellets removed from my foot based on the lab report to the size of pellets that were in my shotgun at the time, and showing that they're 2.5 sizes difference. That's like saying the guy with the 22 didn't shoot the guy that's got a hole in him with the 45 handgun. It's not even close. It didn't happen. Ballistic evidence proves that. But there was a lot more than that. And like Lisa Rogers told me I was shot with a 45 handgun. Okay, I believe it was loaded with a special plastic tip pellet filled bullet called a Glaser safety slug, because the size of pellets are the same size, and it has a plastic tip, and the surgeon stated that he removed a large amount of plastic from the wound, which wouldn't be there if I was shot with a shotgun. And then I'll tell you another one is there was no empty shotgun shell checked into evidence by the CSI who checked in live shotgun shells from my gun. He picked up my shotgun from my house, checked in the shells from it, and he didn't check in an empty shell. And if I had been shot with my shotgun, as they were saying, which was a lie to cover up this premeditated, cold-blooded, attempted murder, then it would have been in there, and it wasn't in there. So it's multiple proofs showing I wasn't shot with my gun. But I didn't know that back then. The police report for this night, which is illegally withheld for 7 years, I didn't get it till 2019, showed that the police were under my home and had entered from the now removed trapdoor that had been shot from. The police report showed that Lieutenant Dickey was inside my home at 11:05 when he wasn't seen arriving on the front security camera that saw Woodward and Naylor arriving 4 minutes earlier, 11:01. All my other doors had extra locks and were secured. This is how it's known that he entered my home from the now removed trap door. 4 other officers, Davis, Chadwell, Angel, and Hale, were also time-stamped as being at my home when they were not seen arriving. Thus, they were under my home. And it makes sense that Woodward and Naylor were also under my home. They just went and got in their car and drove around out front after I shot. And this just showing the police report that I got at timestamps. At timestamps when Woodward and Naylor are seen arriving on the security camera, and when Dickey was here and, at my house, inside my home. Here's another lie right here. Booby traps. There's no booby trap. If there was a booby trap, it'd be in evidence, right? And there's no booby trap in evidence. So it was another lie, but by these police officers that were under my home. It looks like police is who tried to murder me, that cut my phone lines and tried to murder me in my home and then cover it up. And then I found out 2 years later that Rosie Rodriguez was lifelong friends with the ex-wife, and she would have got this home and the extra $500,000 when they ruled my murder an accident. Okay, see, there's the financial side to this. And I didn't tell Rosie that my battery was dead, as I had fully charged battery in my cordless phone. Okay, and they'd all disconnected the home phone line, so that phone didn't work either, and that was the true reason. I've read all that. Okay. But what I want to show you here is this picture. That was the picture that was on. And see, this is Rosie Rodriguez right here. I can tell from other pictures. Leaned over the nightstand. This is where my stolen cell phone was planted. It wasn't there, before I was shot. They had stolen my cell phone, and then they disconnected my home phone line before shooting me. That was so when they shot me from point blank range directly in an artery, I would bleed out and die. And they shot me with a handgun loaded with a special bullet, with a pellet-filled bullet, to make it look like I was shot with a shotgun. Then they could claim I had accidentally shot myself, and they could get that extra $500,000 from the life insurance. So then you have the life insurance fraud on the other part of that. Here's April Chandler standing next to her. All the other police, and there's more pictures than this. All the other pictures show other police in the room. They waited till the other police left the room to plant that stolen cell phone. That's what I believe. Okay. And lastly, I don't have a blue truck. I have a purple truck. I actually gave this to my daughter yesterday. And so I sure didn't tell her I had a blue truck. She just lies. I don't know if she knows how to tell the truth. That's a detective. There's no telling how many innocent people that she's sent to prison. She's a liar. That's all there's to it. Detective Rosie Rodriguez is a bold-faced liar and covering up just violent crimes against innocent citizens that was reporting crime to the police. That's the irony of this whole thing. Here I'm going to the police reporting burglaries to my house. I'm shot during a burglary, and come to find out the police are working with the burglars, and now we know why they never arrested nobody, because they were working with the criminals I was reporting to them, and then that makes sense why they'd want to kill me, right? Because I'm reporting, and I suspect they killed the guy that lived there before me, and maybe that little girl too, at the 2010 Oil Show party. And then lastly, if it wasn't for Nurse, I think we can all agree to this. If it wasn't for Nurse Creswell, then it'd be my word against those police officers. And they were calling me crazy. I'm the first to admit that after being shot by somebody under your home with burglar alarms going off the attic, that is crazy. But what has happened? But it is true, right? That's what happened. And there's lots of proof showing it. There's proof showing that I wasn't shot with my gun. Proof of multiple people, reported people in that area, almost 50 other homeowners across the nation, a dozen addresses in Midland, another dozen in Odessa, and that's the tip of the iceberg. These crimes are going on all over the place. It's organized crime, racketeering, and a significant police corruption that is allowing it. Who knows how many murders of innocent homeowners have been made, that we don't even know about because it got covered up by these lies, and these police are tampering with evidence. And proof of multiple people saying that tunnels and underground homes are here. Okay. And, one of them was running for sheriff. You can see where one is in my backyard on Google Maps, and the little picture I used was from a security camera. And that's when I was crawling out. This was a life or death situation at that time. They had cut my phone lines and shot me from point blank range directly at an artery, with my phone lines cut. They were here to kill me, and they were going to get that extra $500,000. With all that said, I have to say this many times. I'm a lifetime supporter of law enforcement. So you can imagine my surprise when I started finding evidence showing that police were involved in these violent crimes here. But that I don't believe that all police are dirty. I don't. I'm not a cop hater. And, I'm a supporter of law enforcement, but we're going to have to find some real law enforcement, the kind that don't sneak under homes and help murder citizens that are reporting crime. The evidence is here. There is no doubt about it. They should have been arrested a long time ago. This Buddy Webb, Midland, Texas.